Let's Chat.
If you're extremely new to the area, you may not know the intensive impact the Motorcar Festival next week is going to be holding or having on our area. Chris Hopkins has graciously agreed to join Dr. Devlin and me talking about this huge economic impact. And until I started looking into some of the numbers, I was kind of blown away once I did. This is going to be big. How big does this have the potential to be?
Yeah, sure. If we're looking at, let's say, maybe in the neighborhood of 30,000 visitors, you have to assume that the economic impact of just our statistics in town, economic impact from a visitor who stays overnight is somewhere between $90 and $120 a day. So if you look at, say 15, 20, 25 people who are going to stay overnight, you could easily, over the course of this weekend, have a $4 to $5 million net economic impact on the local Chattanooga economy.
Well, and you got to consider the folks that are coming in, they got to eat.
Exactly.
They're going to have gas in their cars to get back to where they came from. There's so many other fringe areas. I'm sure you have a term for this in the world of high finance, but the outlying areas, aside from the Motorcar Festival itself, and Hamilton County and the surrounding areas are going to be a big beneficiary.
Oh, no question about it. The whole metropolitan statistical area, we're going to have, you say, just rule of thumb, somebody who stays overnight, a family stays overnight, they're going to spend $750. You got, and half of that, or 2/3 of it, is room and meals, and then they're going to pick up trinkets, and they're going to buy their gasoline, as you say. So, yeah, there's what's really known as a multiplier effect. You have the direct economic impact of a family coming in and spending money on hotels, and so the payroll of the hotel staff and the wait staff at the restaurant, the cost of food and so forth. But then there are knock-on effects that multiply that impact. There's an indirect effect, which is if you've sold 20% more hotel rooms, then the linen supply company has got to furnish 20% more linen. So that's an indirect. And then there's a tertiary effect, which is all of these additional jobs that were created and this additional income gets recycled and respent back into the Chattanooga economy. So rule of thumb, for every job that this tourism creates, there's another half a job created by the knock-on effects.
I had not looked at it in that aspect. This is like taking, I would think, Dr. Devlin's probably got a term for this, but you take a huge boulder and drop it in the middle of the pond, and it's going to have ripples for ages.
And continuing, there's going to be a follow-on effect.
What kind of effect do you think this Motorcar Festival is going to have on Dr. Devlin and the Neuroscience Innovation Foundation?
Well, he would probably know the numbers better than I do, but I think
he's too modest. You're not.
Well, it's the potential economic impact of Dr. Devlin's work here, I am only just beginning to get a grasp on, and I think it's difficult to even visualize what it could grow into as he continues to create this research center, the test center we were talking earlier about, the device testing center. And then one of the areas I'm really interested in that he's beginning to focus on is medical economics. I saw that you have an interest in that and partnering with Common Spirit on that. That's something I've written about and thought about a lot, which is the economic impact of medicine and how it needs to evolve. And that's going to have broad impacts on Chattanooga and the entire nation. I'd love to hear more about that.
So, Chip, 2 years ago, one of the breakthrough companies that started here in Chattanooga had their board of directors meeting here in Chattanooga. So they were a California startup with deep connections to Tel Aviv, Israel, which is the technology sector for all the artificial intelligence work that they do. And they picked Chattanooga to do their yearly board of directors meeting. And why is that? It's because, and that's the benefit of the Motorcar Festival. It helps elevate the work we do. It helps really put us on the map. It just shows people the commitment that this city has. The fact that they would pick us as the beneficiaries along with the hospital for this great event, it just shows the world how committed this city is to technology. It's an unbelievable city. Fastest internet in the world. Look at all of the great things that have come out of Chattanooga. So I think the Motorcar Festival, by making us one of the beneficiaries of this, really elevates us in an international light, and it gets the spotlight. You're going to see a lot of CEOs and business people from around the United States in the medical device and pharmaceutical coming to the Motor Car Festival because they want to be part of this great event. So it has a lot of impact. Particularly, the goal is to bring more startup companies. You want to get these companies while they're early.
Right.
You want to get them, you want to support them from a business economic standpoint and help launch them. These companies need partners. They need clinical partners to help test and design things. You know, we're kind of a combination between Shark Tank and QVC in a way.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because we can bring the technology in, we help them develop it, okay? We perfect not only the medical technology, but the business model around these companies. And then we can promulgate it throughout the United States, throughout the world, kind of run it up a QVC platform with all the connections that we have. And the ability to do good for people is unbelievable and save lives. It's really unbelievable. We did it on stroke, and now we're working on the Alzheimer's front.
Think about this.
Cool. Go ahead.
Not only do you have the direct economic multiplier of the money spent, but you have an intellectual multiplier because Chattanooga has a culture of development of new and startup companies. So just think about it in terms of, you know, there's all kinds of multiplier effects, but the additional publicity that the Chattanooga and the Neuroscience Center is going to get from all of the media surrounding this.
That's right. Guys, we got to take a quick break, and we've got to make room for Alexis Bogo, who has got a different perspective on just how cool this Motor Car Festival is going to be. It's next week. We're back with that after this.